Indian cricket team now.
Yes.
By SNC coach. What about you? Most of the time, doing a research paper or a research article or publishing something, or you're training a national team, or you are busy with usually weights. Can you just explain what exactly is Bronco test?
Yes, the Bronco, I guess the name itself, it derives from the Brisbane Bronco. You've actually done the test yourself?
Yes.
I know, we definitely did the test during
We did this test, I think, when I was with you doing my
elections as well. So it's really important to have a solid maximum aerobic speed.
What does he do with his numbers? How does he quantify that an athlete has to come up to this? And what will be his training program? Just for a while now. Okay. And now people have started, turning towards Bronco test. You here. I think once I learned this Bronco test in 2023 with you and understanding the test. When I came back to my state, I just tried on my under 19. Hello.
Samee-ur!
Yeah, good morning. Good morning.
Good to see you, mate.
Good to see you, mate. Good to see you, mate. How are you, Clark? How are you, Trevor Clark? How is it going for you? Long time. We haven't spoken about it, or I haven't called you also for a long time now. I'm extremely sorry for this.
Yeah.
Not been in
No,
touch.
it's all
Not
good.
been in touch.
That's fine. It's fine. It's good to see you doing well.
Yes, doing well, extremely well. Going on with the season, just one of the domestic seasons of T20 yesterday. So we're the champions.
Oh, nice.
So on the other side of it, things are going very clean, neat, no issues, nothing. Just going on with a lot of researchers, working on a lot of things as usual.
Good.
How are you doing? How are you doing out there in New Zealand?
Yeah, so far. It's been it was busy last month, and I've just been taking it easy for the last week or so.
Oh, super.
But
Okay.
I'm heading to the UK on Thursday.
Thursday. Okay.
We'll be away for a month.
Okay. For work-wise or?
Family.
Oh, family. Lovely. You need to take out time for family as well. As an SNCs, we don't take much time. We keep traveling with teams and stuff like that. And when family time comes, definitely we need to take it off.
That's right. That's exactly right.
See, this podcast basically was to know about Bronco test, which is introduced in Indian cricket team now. By SNC coach Adrian Liru. He is from South Africa. So he has introduced it up for Indian cricket team now. Before starting our podcast, let us know who exactly is Dr. Trevor Clark. Because my audience wants to know that getting such a huge name on my podcast, the sports scientist from New Zealand, it's not easy. And thanks for coming into my podcast and making this podcast lively and more knowledgeable, because a lot of people are speaking about Bronco test, but somebody from there and somebody who has done it already at your New Zealand rugby team it's always good enough. So let us know about yourself, Dr. Sir.
Okay. So this might take a little while, but I'll try and be as quick as I can. Yeah, I've been around for a long time. My background, I've been involved in sport basically for the last 44 years.
Oh my God, okay.
I was very fortunate to be able to play sport professionally. So basically in New Zealand, you grow up, you play rugby. That's it.
Yes.
It's just like in India, you play cricket.
Yes.
So in New Zealand, you grow up, you play rugby if you're a male, and netball maybe if you're a female. But so I took to sport, and fortunately, I don't know how or why, but I became quite good at playing sport. In fact, not just one sport. I was multi-task. I'd take on lots of different sports, and I think I've told you this story before as well.
Yeah, correct.
Even though I played rugby, I got a job as playing rugby professionally. It wasn't actually my passion. My passion was actually surfing. So I was very fortunate to grow up near the coast, and my mum's actually from a place in New Zealand called Raglan, which has probably got one of the best waves in the world. So I was lucky enough to grow up the best of both worlds, surfing and playing rugby. But also I was even though I was quite good at school, but my problem was actually going to school.
Okay.
So I had a bit of issues basically getting up and going to school, like most young people do. But it grew on me. School, it grew on me. My mum was actually she was the taskmaster. My dad was the worker. So yeah, it was that sort of, I guess, instilled in me from a very young age. If you're going to do something, just do it to best of your ability.
Yes, correct. Yes.
I didn't know I could play all these sports, but yeah, that was something that I was very fortunate enough to do. But as I said, also told you this as well, that sport wasn't my first love. Music was. So I was again very fortunate to be able to participate in playing music.
Oh, lovely.
I had an uncle that played in bands all over the place, and so I took up music from a very young age. I think I was 6 when I first started playing the guitar. So anyway, I progressed from playing music at home and around, different gatherings and that, to again taking it on as a profession. So I became a musician playing in bands all over the place as well. We actually made a recording of a song in a band that I was in many, many years ago. And yeah, so that's a little bit of my history. That's grown just so many things in New Zealand. If you've ever been to New Zealand, but New Zealand's many opportunities to get out and get involved in anything really, but sport, music.
Good. I think this is a good side of you that I've never seen about it, because I've heard about you most of the time, doing a research paper or a research article or publishing something, or you're training a national team, or you are busy with usually weights or research.
Yes.
It's a good side of an essency that comes out with a lot of other passions and trying to live out of it. That is always required, because you need a break time as well. You just can't keep doing the same thing.
Oh no, yeah, no. You need definitely need an outlet. You need other things, and like I say, sport or music, they're pretty good things to be involved with. So it's quite easy to do. I was just fortunate enough to be able to do them both as a profession. So those are two strings. I've got another string to my bow, and that was education, basically. So again, very fortunate. When I was in the UK, I played in the UK for 12 years as a professional and rugby league, and I was also very lucky to go to university when I was in the UK. And I went to Carnegie, which is Leeds. They call it Leeds Beckett University now. It used to be Leeds Metropolitan University. It used to be Carnegie College, a number of things. But yeah, I was very lucky to go to university for 6 years. I did an honours degree and a master's degree in human movement and sport and exercise science. So I was, again, just very fortunate in the right place at the right time during my playing career to get an education. But you've got to obviously do the work. So
definitely. Okay, so Dr. Trevor, right now, let us get into the main topic which we were talking about. Can you just explain what exactly is Bronco test?
yes, the Bronco, I guess the name itself derives from the Brisbane Broncos rugby league team. And that's a professional team part of the NRL, National Rugby League, here in Australia. And the Brisbane Broncos, I think they started in the 80s, definitely started in the 80s.
1980s, okay.
Yeah, well, I think it was late 80s. I think 88 might have been their first year. But they had a very hard taskmaster as preparing them. They had a couple, actually. Calvin Giles was one of the earliest. And then another chap called Dan Baker come along now, Dr. Dan. He's a legend in the S&C industry, Dan Baker.
Dan Baker, yes.
Yes, so I'm not 100% sure whether it actually came through Dan. I know Dan was there at the time, so he was at the Broncos for a number of years. I think 10 years. They won a number of premierships. They won 6 in total. But yeah, Dan was the S&C coach there. But the test itself, the Bronco, has been utilised by lots and lots and lots of different teams and sports. So even the All Blacks, the Māori All Blacks, use the Bronco as an assessment for their aerobic maximal aerobic speed, obviously MAS, what it stands for in terms of the Bronco. So yeah, that test has been around for a little while now, and it's been widely accepted as a good measure of aerobic capacity. So
okay.
It's good to hear that they're actually using it in cricket.
Yes,
because obviously you run between wickets a lot, so it's not too dissimilar to the shuttle run. But I know you do the 20, 40, 60 meters is a little bit different. But yeah, cricket players are used to running over that short speed and then turning and running back. So yeah, it's I guess construct validity would be quite relevant to cricket as well. So it is a good measure, and I think you've actually done the test yourself.
Yes.
I know we definitely did the test during
we did it. We did this test, I think, when I was with you doing my L1. Probably you made us do this, and after that, my phosphates were dead, and I couldn't move. Definitely, you gave me another dose of another train, another job, and you really killed me on that day. I still remember that.
I didn't make you do anything. I asked you, and you volunteered willingly. So
yeah.
No, that's good. It is a tough test. Yes,
it is a tough test. So, what are the?
It's only 5 minutes.
Sorry to cut you here. Please continue.
It only should run for about 5 minutes or less, or slightly more. It just depends. So it's not too difficult.
Yes. Okay. The main energy system which is being trained here is aerobic capacity, to test aerobic capacity.
Yes. So technically, the test itself is an MAS, maximal aerobic speed. So it's the maximal speed you can run continuously, obviously utilizing the aerobic energy system, because it's over 2 minutes. Therefore, it must be aerobic, because otherwise you'd be utilizing your phosphocreatine or your lactic acid energy system. And that means obviously there's no oxygen available. So you need energy. You need to convert or utilize energy to fuel the work. So it is a good measure. It's a simple measure as well to do big numbers. So you can set out a good cones, set out the cones in a good sized field. You can test up to 30 players at any one time. So it's a good way of assessing a group in a very short space of time. Even using it as ballpark figures. The one thing I wouldn't advise, and people do this, and unfortunately it's not something you'd advise you do, would be to use the actual test as a training methodology. It's not designed to be a training methodology. So you use it as part of your assessments over time and the period. So pre-season, you're looking at your GPP. You want to do your assessment of your maximal aerobic speed.
Okay.
That gives the S&C a good idea where their aerobic capacities are at. Now, you remember what said about aerobic capacity. If we can build our aerobic capacity bigger and bigger, and the bigger we can get, everything we do revolves around the aerobic energy system. So if you can build a big, solid foundational base of aerobic capacity, it will allow you to train effectively and efficiently at both anaerobic and lactic and alactic energy systems as well. So it's really important to have a solid maximal aerobic speed, which contributes to your maximal oxygen uptake, your VO2.
Super.
So yeah, it's an indirect methodology.
Okay. So, Dr. Trevor, you tell me one thing here. So, what are the takeaways from this particular test, and how do you quantify this?
Yes, so obviously you get a score. What you do is you run for 20, 40, 60 meters. For those that don't know, I don't know, Samee, if you've spoken to anyone about what the methodology is, and I could easily explain it or even show you, but yeah, you run 0, 20, 0, 40, 0, 60. So each one of those runs, you've got to do 5 of those. So the total distance is 1.2 kilometers, or 1,200 meters, 1,200 meters. So
1 meters, yes.
And you have to try and run that test in either 5 minutes or less. So the sort of standard we're looking at the National Rugby League level would be about 5 minutes, which is 300 seconds. Now, I think when I did it with you guys, you were one of the, I'm not sure if your group was one of the very few, because I've been going to India for over 7 years now. I've been through, I think, definitely going on 3rd Olympic cycle. And there have been no Indian coaches that I've run the assessments had ever broken 5 minutes.
Perfect. I agree.
Until I think your year. Now, I've subsequently gone back to India, and this is in the last year. And I've just looked at my files. I've got 17 coaches, athletes and coaches that have now run sub 5 minutes. In fact, one of them amazingly did, instead of 300, it did it in 233 seconds. So had a very, very high MAS score of 5.15 meters per second, which is the best. Mind you, he's an athlete. He's not a contact sport athlete, or I'm not sure. Don't think he plays cricket either. I did have a cricketer that ran sub 5 minutes by quite a margin as well. He ran 2:47, and he is a cricketer, fast bowler. And so his MAS score is 4.86. It's a really high score.
Yes, that's a very high score. Yeah,
that is amazing. So it's good to see just over the times that I've been going to India now for 7 years and running the Bronco test and accumulating all of this data and information and knowledge around the coaches and athletes in India. The linear improvement in the scores have been amazing. So I guess adaptation, time. And now that people have actually seen it and they know what it is, it gives them a more idea or a better, I guess, goals to adapt, or the body time to adapt. So there's more knowledge around the MAS and Bronco scores now. I can't remember what you scored though, Samee.
My score was 6.3. That's very bad score. I don't.
It would have been 6.3 because the higher the number, the better. So you're talking about 6 minutes and 30 seconds. So you're talking about time.
Yeah.
Because you got to have your time. So 5 minutes equates to 300 seconds. So anything that's over 300, for me, is probably, we need to work harder on your aerobic capacity. So I know previously I could look back on all the numbers. I've had scores way over 400, 500 even. So 500, as you know, 6 minutes. So is that right? 6. Oh, yeah.
I think
got to, that's 10 minutes.
That's 10 minutes. That's close to.
Yeah, which is not good.
I know. I see. I think when you talk about Bronco test, this affects age factor also. Age factor is a key here. Like say somebody who is very young, somebody who is crossed 22, 23. Is it going to change the timings, or it is going to remain the same?
It all depends. It just depends on your training. either your training or your training age,
Okay.
your capacity. Because endurance runners seem to be they have a capacity to sustain effort for a lot longer period, and there's a lot of endurance runners are in their late 30s, 40s.
40s, okay.
So they, because of that adaptation to training, they can sustain that over a longer period of time. Whereas you see very few sprinters in their late 30s, you know what I mean, compared to aerobic or endurance runners. In fact, they had the Sydney Marathon just on the weekend, and a record number of people attending and a record number of people finishing. So technically, you might think, is there a population healthier today? Probably. Why? Because the advent of the new health technology, I guess the way food's more available nowadays. You got a healthier lifestyles technically. And so there's a lot of advancements in health and technology that have led to greater advances in obviously performance as well. So yeah, we utilize all those advantages we can, definitely.
Yes. So let's say, as an SNC, when an athlete finishes his Bronco test in 5 minutes or 5.5 minutes, so what is the next process that an SNC does? What does he do with these numbers? How does he quantify that an athlete has to come up to this? And what will be his training program?
Sure. So let's just take the 5 minutes. If we look at what 5 minutes actually means, so you've run 1.2 kilometers in 5 minutes,
Yes.
but you've done it over a shuttle. The trajectory of a shuttle is going to be slower than if you ran 1.2 kilometers around the track. So 3 laps of a athletic track equals the same 1.2 k's, 500 meters. But in the shuttle format, you're not stopping. You've got a shuttle. You've got a turn. So you've got 6 turns on every shuttle. So the point of this is you're losing time. You're accelerating, decelerating.
Decelerating, correct.
Yeah, your acceleration and deceleration take time. Some people are good at turning, whereas some people turn their whole bodies around every time they run. They just end up running in a circle instead of running shuttle to shuttle. So so time is a factor. So if you've run a 5-minute Bronco, and in my book, a 5-minute Bronco, you've done really well to do that shuttle. So what that equates to is 4 meters per second. Your maximum aerobic speed is 4 meters for every second that you run. So you ran for 300 seconds, 5 minutes, and you covered 1.2 kilometers. But what does it actually translate, you ask? Yes, that equates to a score. So how do we improve the aerobic capacity for someone with a 4 meters per second?
Okay.
What we do is we actually train it at a higher intensity. Now, the evidence tells us that the optimal loading is 120% of your MAS. So 4 meters becomes 4.8 meters per second.
Meters, yes.
So if you load it at 120%, that just makes what you've got to do is you have to run that 4.8 times 15 seconds as your training. Okay, so that comes down to 15 seconds, 72 meters, basically. So you run 72 meters in 15 seconds, you recover for 15 seconds, you could either walk out or you set it up in a rectangle, you walk across and you run again 72 meters down another side, 15-second recovery. So that's 1 minute. You've done two runs in 1 minute.
1 minute, yes.
So so you remember aerobic conditioning?
Aerobic conditioning.
What's the ratio of aerobic conditioning again?
What do you
mean?
Always
1 to 1. Aerobic conditioning.
1:1.
Any type of aerobic conditioning training where the work-rest ratio is always 1 to 1.
1 to 1, yeah. 1:1.
You run 15 seconds, you recover 15 seconds.
Correct.
Run 15, recover 15. So you do 2 runs in 1 minute, okay? But you're running 72 meters in 15 seconds. Now, that is not hard. It's not that hard. But you're training your maximal aerobics capacity at a higher load, higher intensity, but only for short duration. So you do that for 5 minutes. That's your one block. You go away, might run some skill drills for a 5-minute period. Then you come back, do another block. Now, then your GPP, you might start off initially doing 2 or 3 blocks or 4 blocks to eventually you might get to 5 blocks of training, MAS at 120. So then you can calculate your loads based on the distance. So if you run 144 meters in 1 minute, so you multiply that by 5. Yep. So you got 5, 4, 6, talking 7. 5 times 7, 35, 3.5. So that's the load that you're going to accumulate. Remember, during GPP, it's all about volume.
Volume, yes.
Yeah, all about volume. You want to get your loading here and accumulation over time. Accumulation obviously happens when you do your recovery, regeneration, train again. You've always got to, as you say, the time in between your training sessions is actually when the body develops and adapts, not during. As you find most people keeled over, breathing, can't breathe, doing the old repaying the oxygen debt in their recovery. So yeah, it's a fairly well-worn methodology of improving aerobic capacity, but it's one of my biggest advocates. I'm always preaching, you build the aerobic base as big as you can, because that's going to sustain you even during the lactic acid, the anaerobic glycolysis, during those really hard extended sessions, and even sprint work, you recover faster. So, and obviously during your hypertrophy phase, during your GPP hypertrophy phase, because you're looking at higher repetitions, less recovery. So with a bigger aerobic base, you can recover faster. So it leads to everything. Everything you do around your aerobic base leads to your improvement in your other capacities as well. Really important.
So let's say, what are the recommendations when to increase the aerobic capacity to load up the volume, and what would be the best ideal time that you will be suggesting to train these capacities?
Yeah, good question. When do we do it? Do we do it before we're looking at a heavy weight session? Probably not. So my advice, do the weights first. Do your weight sessions first. Then have a little break, or have a break period of recovery. But then you want to do your aerobic capacity after you've done your weights. Don't do aerobic before. So yeah, and because you can run those 5-minute blocks, it's actually really convenient, because you program in, you're running 1, 2, 3, 4, even 4 blocks. 4 blocks, is only 20 minutes of work. Of that 20 minutes only 20 minutes. But of that, it's only 10 minutes actually work. The other 10 minutes of recovery. Now, if you have a 2-minute break in between,
it's a 1:1 ratio, yeah.
Yeah, 1-to-1. So if you have a 2-minute break in between, or your session's going to be around about 30 minutes total.
Okay.
So that's a fairly simple way of converting or loading your aerobic capacity. And during the GPP phase, that's going to be so important for you along further down the line. So I know you guys, cricket in India is 24/7, 365 days a year. So trying to fit in these blocks of aerobic work is going to be really, really important for longevity. So that's really important to get that done, get that work done in the GPP. Yep.
While training this, do you think that the athlete is going to get into burnout zone?
No, it shouldn't do. Not during Broncos or not during the MAS phase, because the intensity is not that high. Yeah. So you're going to, if you've planned it well, because you have a fixed number, you already know the distances. I guess there's one way I can show you. Don't know if you let me share, Samee-ur, if you want me to.
I'll just
Yeah, you just got to let me share. I can actually show you the spreadsheet.
Yes.
I'll show you the spreadsheet. Okay, let's go. Let's have a look and see. Just tell me when you can see the spreadsheet.
Cheers. Yeah, I'm seeing the spreadsheet.
Good.
I think
I'm going to.
Yeah. So this is your maximum aerobic speed calculator.
Yes. Now I know you've got a hold of one of these.
Yeah, you
I've
had
sent this to
you had made us to work on these sheets, and in fact, first hands-on experience we had it in 2024, 23, I think.
23. Yep, 23.
Yes.
So this is just something I built, and I know I allowed you guys, gave you guys access to it. So just an example, here's the 300. That's the the row that's highlighted. That's a 5 minute. Yep.
Your
300 seconds.
Your screen is stuck, Doctor.
Oh, is it? Okay.
You can again reshare the screen. I think probably then it'll be easy.
Let me have a look. Can you see that one?
No. Yeah, now I'm able to see. Yeah. Now it is clear.
So you can see the 300 meters, the 300 seconds here. Yep.
Yeah.
Highlighted here.
Yeah.
So that row, it equates to 4 meters per second.
Yes.
I'll highlight it actually. Yeah. So I'll make it a little bit bigger so you can see it as well. Okay. So 4 meters per second, that's at 100. There's 110, 4.4, 120, and 520 for 130.
30, yeah.
Now, if you were to run a 50 meter, if you set a 50 meter distance, I can change that to anything. That's 100 meters. So I would estimate it's going to be about, yeah, well, there you go. To run it at 100%, 25 seconds. Okay. 110, 120, 130. So you'd get 21 seconds to run 100 meters.
Okay, got it.
As a training. So you know that's not hard. Yeah. That's 21 seconds. So you talk about load or burnout, you'd be hard pressed to burn out running 21 seconds for 100 meters. But here's where the real sort of money kicks in here. This column here is one I've highlighted. That's the 120% column.
Yes.
So that all the data sort of points to this being an optimal training load. So you might start out initially with 100%, 60.
Mm-hmm.
Go to 110, 66 meters. Mm-hmm. But you eventually want to get to this one here, 72 meters. Now, if you're going to run 72 meters for 15 seconds, and you're going to do 2 blocks, so that's a total of 144 meters per minute.
Per minute, yes.
of work. Now, these figures here, this T column, it works out to the 120%. So you're going to run 3.3K if you run 5 blocks of training. Okay. So this is all, it's already worked out. You don't need to try and, you know the load is already there. So in terms of what it's going to do, you'd be hard pressed to burn out running at that intensity. Yep.
Got it.
That's because aerobic training is not designed to be that hard. It challenges your capacity to work and then recover, work and recover. Now, if it was continuous, you'd be working at that high intensity. You wouldn't last very long. Yeah.
Yes.
It becomes, instead of aerobic, it becomes
anaerobic. Yes.
Anaerobic. Yeah, which obviously is not what we need. So yeah, that's important.
Okay. So pretty good explanation on this calculator chart. I think a lot of people will get the hands-on experience that when I'll be putting up in my link so that people can download the calculator from there and have a look at it, how exactly it looks like.
Yeah. Well, you have it. So you can put any numbers you like in your calculator, yes. And they can get access to it and use it. By all means. It's
definitely. Sharing is always caring. That's what even I believe in.
Yeah, 100%. Oh, look, we only learn from doing. Yeah, a lot of us learn from actually doing. Some can read and listen, but most people actually want to see it done as well.
Correct. Perfect. We'll do that for our, people who wants to get hands-on experience on that. My last segment of question, which is, what is, let's say, people have followed yo-yo test for a while now. Okay. Um, and now people have started, turning towards Bronco test. Which would be the best, test, and how helpful it will be?
Yeah, it's a tricky one. That's a tricky one because here's the thing about, see, the yo-yo test has been validated. Okay. So just like the previous test to that, the multi-stage shuttle run test, the old start of level 1-1, the beak test. So the beak test was validated. So they have quantifiable values that are standardized.
Perfect.
But not every test is standardized. Let me tell you now, Samir, because people run, technically the yo-yo and the beak test was designed to run in an indoor gymnasium.
Yeah.
A non-slip floor, and there's lots of things in, that you're supposed to standardize the testing methodology. But here's the thing. If you run a test, all you've got to do is make sure when you run the test, you run it under the same protocols or conditions that you always test. Yeah. So, and the numbers that you're going to get, can you compare the numbers, apples with apples? Technically, if you only run the same tests under the same conditions, with not necessarily the same athletes, because that's the reliability that, if you run the test is reliable and valid, that it measures what you expect it to measure, and you'll get a reliable result. So these are the things with quantifiable and validated tests. Now, the Bronco itself is a good measure of maximum aerobic speed, but the Bronco has never been validated.
Reason?
Sorry?
Reason?
No one's done it. That's all.
I'll just put a word to you here. I think once I learned this Bronco test in 2023 with you and understanding the test, when I came back to my state, I just tried on my under 19 state team, and the numbers which I got was amazing. Somewhere close to 330 seconds, somewhere 320 seconds. And when I realized that is stride length, they never knew the difference between step stride and stride length, because running strides are very different. So when I started knowing about the meters per second they're covering, and I wanted them to cover certain meters at a certain distance, that is when I think all my athletes were trying to be more fast on the field, more agile on the field. As you said, the recovery period was very well maintained. So they used to get recover faster after having a spell of 5 minutes of a over. I mean, the bowling part. And when they come back, they were more fitter, and the muscles were trying to recover faster, because the strategy was that let us improve their aerobic capacities in such that it will help them on the ground to survive, and not to recovery really not being slow on the field, because cricket again is mostly being played on the ground rather spending time on the gym. So I switched my protocols, and this is what I've got. Thanks to you. Thanks to you, because under you I've learned a lot. Trust me, still I've been learning. So lately I just started my podcast and wanted to pull you in so that our people should know where are these things coming from and who is behind this.
Sure. Thank you, Samir, for those wonderful words. All I can say is all the information, and even though the validation may not be 100% proof, it is in reality hands-on experience, because it's being used and utilized and approved by so many people that it does add value, and it's a simple way of accumulation and allowing athletes to adapt, because they adapt it quite quickly, and being able to sustain that load. Because my athletes, they don't like the long continuous running. They like the high intensity, shorter shuttles, So all we do early doors, you can go from 15 seconds, push it out to 30 seconds. It makes your athletes work harder. Well, it works harder. The distance doubles. There's no change. It's still
Correct,
1-to-1. So you only get one working load basically per minute. So you get 5 loads in 1 minute as opposed to 10 in 1 minute. But shorter, but longer durations early, build the capacity early, get wider, increase the intensity as you go. It's a well-worn and utilized methodology to improve your aerobic capacity. And for me, that's big.
Perfect, doctor. Thank you so much for coming into my podcast and making it lively. See you soon with another podcast shortly. Maybe I don't know when. Let's come back with a bigger podcast. And thanks for the time.
You're very welcome, Samir. Great to see you, my friend.
See you. Take care. See you soon. Thank you so much.